Hello guys, Arvind Nishan here. Really excited to bring to you the first video of many that will make up a playlist that's all about AWS Lambda. So you may be wondering what's this playlist, who's this playlist designed for? That would be for those who are new to AWS Lambda, or you'd simply like a refresher on Lambda, or even those who are new to AWS. Believe it or not, that's because AWS Lambda is one of the most popular services out there. Thanks to serverless applications, becoming more and more popular recently, due to a couple of reasons that will be explained in a bit. So yeah, let's get into what exactly AWS Lambda is, right? So as you can see here, this is the official documentation of AWS Lambda. And simply put, you can think of Lambda as being a service that allows you to run code without provisioning any sort of servers or clusters. So think EC2, right, being one of the things that you would usually spin up to run some code or host a web app. You don't have to. You just need to, go to the Lambda service, write your code, and run it. So no provisioning, no launching of instances or servers at all. So that's pretty cool, right? And of course, best of all, you're able to learn Lambda for free, especially if you're new to AWS. You get to enjoy up to 1 million requests for free under the AWS free tier. Of course, it's per month, right? It's not per lifetime. It's per month. So that's a really good offering for you to get your hands dirty with AWS Lambda, learn a lot there, before really before starting to pay for it. And I think by that time, you should be able to enjoy its benefits. So yeah, let's now talk about why AWS Lambda. So there are 4 reasons here that AWS have listed down. So first of all, obviously you can run code right away without worrying about infrastructure. Infrastructure here just means things like preparing a server, preparing an EC2 instance just to run some code. You don't need to do any of that. And if you're familiar with container images, things like Docker, you can actually run container images if you want, and even zip files. So that's pretty amazing. Secondly, Lambda is automatically able to respond to code execution requests at any scale. So this really just means that it scales very easily. So you don't have to worry about scaling when it comes to running code on Lambda. But of course, you may need to keep monitoring it. If your app, mostly runs APIs using Lambda, you may need to eventually, tweak things a little bit depending on your use case. And you're also able to save costs by paying only for the compute time that you use. And this is pretty crazy. I feel like I think before they were charging by per second basis, but now it's per millisecond basis. So that means that developers are incentivized to improve their code execution time by even a millisecond. So think about that. So in a way, it's pretty exciting. It encourages you to write efficient code, and the more efficient your code is, the more cost you save on Lambda. So that's also good for the user experience, right? So it goes both ways. And last but not least, you have optimizing of code execution time performance with the right function memory size. So yes, while you don't need to provision any instance, you have the flexibility to configure your Lambda, which we will look into later in this playlist. So typically what you would want to tweak is the memory size. So generally, the higher the memory allocated to the Lambda, the faster it is. But at some point, increasing the memory even further does not result in a big enough performance increase that it does not make sense. Meaning because logically, the more memory size you allocate to the Lambda function, the more you need to pay. So we'll talk about some tools that you can use to determine the best memory allocation for your Lambda function. So yeah, I think the rest of it is really just examples of use cases. Again, this we'll look into a bit later on, but I think really the most important takeaway from this video is that what Lambda is. and why one would use Lambda. So that's really it for this video.